Hello, everyone. My name is Don, the movie reviewer, and today we are going to be talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi, directed by Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson also directed a movie called Looper, starring Joseph Gordon Levitt and Bruce Willis, and it's a time travel suspense drama flick, and it's very good. Rian Johnson also directed a little movie called Brick, starring a young Joseph Gordon Levitt who was just up and coming in his career at that time. Brick is a noir mystery movie that takes place in a high school, and that does sound like a weird combination, but it's effective and it works. So I would recommend those two movies if you're not familiar already with Rian Johnson's filmography. Now, The Last Jedi to me doesn't really necessarily feel like a Rian Johnson flick because with a Rian Johnson flick, from what I've seen of him so far, he makes really dark and meaningful stuff. Now, with Star Wars The Last Jedi, it does have some meaningful stuff in there, but it is a Star Wars movie, and that's just one of my problems with it. Now, watching this movie, there are a lot of things that happen that I definitely want to get into, but I can't get into spoilers with it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an initial review first without spoilers to get my views and opinions and thoughts of the movie out of the way very quickly. Then after that, I'm going to do a spoiler-filled review so I can just get out everything I need to say about how I truly feel about Star Wars The Last Jedi. So let's get into it.
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help. I need someone to show me my place in all this.
Star Wars The Last Jedi picks up exactly after the events of Star Wars The Force Awakens. Rey finds Luke Skywalker hiding out on an island. Luke Skywalker is convinced that the Jedi should no longer exist. Meanwhile, the First Order is barreling down on the Resistance and backing them into a corner. While all of this is taking place, Supreme Leaders Snoke, Kylo Ren, and Rey all play a battle of the minds. Star Wars knows how to make fun of itself. There are scenes in this movie that at first glance feel hammy and overstaged. Then the movie will wink at the audience and tell us something that is something we already know or is obvious, and it makes fun of it. It makes fun of it. Like there are things in this movie that as an audience member I thought was kind of cheesy, but then the movie addresses it and says, hey, yeah, we know this is stupid and cheesy. Now we're going to make fun of it and we're going to get rid of it, or we're going to elaborate on it. And that is something that I really enjoyed. There are some interesting stories being told with the characters at play here. We have Kylo Ren, who is dealing with some internal emotion that he was also dealing with in the first movie, and they further elaborate on it in this one. We have Rey, who is dealing with some emotional stuff herself and trying to figure everything out, which was interesting. So they elaborated on that from the first movie. We have Luke Skywalker finally, after him not speaking at the end of Force Awakens, we have him in here finally. And It's not the guy we are used to from the original Star Wars trilogy. We definitely see a man who has aged, who has been weighed down by life and by how he has failed as a Jedi Master and how he wants the Jedi to end. I thought that was a very interesting place to take his character. We have Supreme Leader Snoke in here, who I believe is an absolute, excuse my language, badass in this movie. He is one of the most powerful Sith Lords I have ever seen. I like Snoke in this movie. He has some of the best scenes, the colors that are in the background with his scenes, with like the red, and then you see like the set design with his chair, and then you see like these objects in the background. It's great, fantastic with Snoke. Then you got Poe Dameron in here, who he believes in what he's doing, and so when he believes in what he's doing, I believe in what he's doing. We got Princess Leia in here, played by Carrie Fisher. May she rest in peace. She was great in here. There were a couple of weird scenes, but she was great nonetheless. Daniel Gleason is the funniest actor in here. Like I said, there are scenes in this movie where the performances or the scenes feel hammy themselves, and it's just like, okay, this is kind of over the top. But then the movie will wink at the audience and say, yeah, we know this is over the top. We know what we're doing. And I like the scenes with Daniel Gleason while he was involved with all that stuff, because there'd be a moment to where he's acting extremely hammy. I want that ship destroyed and I want it now. Those little scenes with him where he was doing that kind of stuff, it was fun. I will say that the movie is exciting enough to keep a person's attention, especially a Star Wars fan. But for someone like myself who's kind of getting tired of this stuff, I don't really have any interest in knowing what the next episode is going to be about. Like, I think I've really had it with this series because I think it's more catered to children than it is for adults, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We should definitely have kids' movies that exist. But with Star Wars and with The Last Jedi, as I was watching this, I was just saying, well, this, I don't know, it doesn't feel as epic and as grand and just in its tone and scale as like previous installments. Like this kind of felt like something that was more a little downgraded. I mean, there were lots of space battles and stuff like that, and they kind of gave me a headache because, yeah, the movie, like I said, it addresses all these things. It even addresses space battles and stuff being blown up and how dumb it is. But then it's like, hey, you know, they do it anyway, and it's like, okay, they keep doing it. And I would just say, as kind of a fanboy, I wanted to see more saber fights. I wanted to see more saber fights, and they kind of ruined that. Like, there's one saber fight that was taking place and they ruined it. There's another one that was going to take place and they ruined it, and it's just lost opportunities. But I mean, I did like all the interpersonal stories between everyone. I did like how they all connected, and the conflicts they had within themselves was really good. And so I think the movie certainly gave me a guideline to understand these characters and who they are deep within themselves, and build that connection. So I really like that. And I think the stories in here between the characters and amongst them, the characters, is what propelled the movie and brought it forward. And there are some other things in here too, which I'll mention in spoilers. But that's it. I did enjoy Star Wars. I had fun with it, and I'm gonna hold off on my grade until after the spoilers because I really need to reflect on what I just saw. So, without further ado, here are the spoilers. Let's get into it. Like I said, I love Daniel Gleason in this movie. Honestly, when I think about it, I think he also has some of the best scenes in this movie because, especially at the beginning, where when I first saw him, to me, it seemed like he was hamming his performance up and it just came off as a little over the top. But then later on, the movie mentions how over the top it is and how silly it all seems. And then it also mentions stuff being blown up with Poe Dameron, where he's like, yeah, I want to blow stuff up. And even Princess Leia is like, hey, yeah, you just want to get in your cockpit and blow stuff up, and he's like, yeah, I just want to blow stuff up, you just got to point the trigger at something and blow it up. And it's like, yes, that hints at the fact that, yeah, these are kind of like ridiculous space battles they're just explosions. Your mind goes numb while you're watching it because it's it's a dumb explosion, whatever, it's fun. And I like the fact that the movie mentioned it, like, yeah, it's just space battle stuff gets blown up. This isn't anything intellectual or anything like that. It's just stuff being blown up. But at the same time, it made me interested in Poe Dameron as a character, and I know who he is, and he's a brave man because, yeah, not only does he blow stuff up, he's a man with a plan, and he will go against the resistance in order to save lives. And I did like that. So with all those little things in there that the movie did do with pointing out the fact that, yeah, these are just space explosions and they're kind of pointless, it's just stuff blowing up, and he likes it. It's just that, okay, he's not only that kind of guy, he was flushed out completely to where I understand his reasoning behind the decisions that he made. You got Luke Skywalker in here, played by Mark Hamill. And Mark Hamill is a really good actor. When we see him in this movie, it is a funny introduction scene where Rey hands him the lightsaber, he takes it and he just chucks it over his shoulder. It's kind of funny. Like, I was thinking, looking at scenes like that, I was thinking, yeah, if this movie had like no budget and they did shoot this, it would come off as kind of silly. Luckily, this is a Star Wars movie, so as silly as the story may be, they have grand set pieces, so then it feels bigger than what it actually is. But it's like, it's funny with little stuff like that, like, oh, whatever. But then there's a reason for it, even though it's like, okay, I feel like the movie's kind of laughing at itself and Star Wars. It's making fun of it while telling us who the character is, and I thought that was interesting because, yeah, Luke throws it over his shoulder, the lightsaber, and it's funny. But then there's a reason for it. It's because it's like he feels like there should be no more Jedi. They should no longer exist. And so there's a little situation that occurs in here between Luke and Kylo Ren, and they explain that whole situation. And I thought that was very interesting because it's like Kylo Ren said, no, Luke attacked me. And that was from his perspective, where Luke was just trying to kill him. But then from Luke Skywalker's perspective, he could sense his thoughts and feel his soul and the force within him. And it was dark, and he was just like, who knows what he would have been. And Luke was just like, I had to kill him. I had to take him out because who knows what he would have done if I let him live. So then in an instant, Luke pulled out his lightsaber ready to kill Kylo Ren. But then in that instant, he said, no, I don't want to do it. And then at the last minute, before he could put away his lightsaber, Kylo Ren saw him and felt betrayed, and then therefore attacked him. And then so when you think about that, that is very interesting. I like that the movie did that because it's like, did Luke Skywalker create the monster known as Kylo Ren? Right? He said that Snoke had already corrupted him, though. But just like Rey said in the movie, Luke Skywalker should have let Kylo Ren make a choice himself, because who knows what would have happened. And then that also harkens back to episode 1, Phantom Menace, when we see Anakin Skywalker and then Obi-Wan Kenobi, not Obi-Wan, but Liam Neeson's character sees something within him, and he's like, he can bring balance to the Force. So then they force this kid to prepare himself for who he's going to be in the future as this great savior. And then it's like he's having all these conflicting emotions within himself of the light and the dark, and he doesn't know what to do with it all. And then so it's like, with these hands that be trying to pull him to the left or to the right, with the Supreme Chancellor Darth Sidious pulling him towards the dark side. And you have Obi-Wan trying to pull him towards the light, but then in the middle he's got this love affair and he doesn't know which way to go, and he wants to save his woman and all that stuff. And so this movie deals with that. It's like, as with children, parents should really let their kids be. And I think that's an important thing. Especially, I feel like that's what this movie showcase is, that sometimes people's influences can turn us into the things that we become later on down the line. Like, did Luke Skywalker create the monster? Even though his mind was already corrupted by Snoke, is it Luke's fault for Kylo Ren turning completely to the dark side? Because Kylo Ren may have been in the situation where he's like, I'm not sure yet. I like both options. Both options sound cool, but I'm young and I still have choices. So I thought that was interesting with what they did between Luke and Ren. I thought that was good. And then at the end, where they kind of fake us out with a lightsaber battle, I was like, okay, I really wanted to see that, but now they're making me wait till the next movie, which is dumb because then it's like I wanted to know who Snoke was, and all of Snoke's scenes in this movie are great, and I like Snoke in here. He seemed like he was the most powerful Sith Lord ever. He wasn't messing around. He had all of those guys in red suits that were surrounding him, like Darth Vader had in Rogue One, and they were excuse my language, they were badass, man. They pop out, and I'm like, holy shit! Don't mess with Snoke. Don't mess with Snoke, man. And I was just imagining like the lightsaber battle that would take place between Luke Skywalker and Snoke, and how awesome that would be. And I'm not gonna get it, and I probably never will get it because they killed Snoke. They killed Snoke, which was unexpected, and that's great and all. But then at the same time, it's like, okay, you showcase how powerful Snoke is, and how he's the most powerful uh, Sith Lord ever, and he can do all these things. And he connected Kylo Ren's mind with Rey's from long distances. And for some reason, he cannot sense that he's about to be stabbed by a lightsaber. And yes, the movie did it again. It winked at the audience, pointing out the fact with dialogue with what Snoke was saying about how, yeah, you're going to kill the person you hate the most. And then you think he's going to kill Rey, which I knew he wasn't going to kill Rey. But then at the same time, he's like, I'm going to kill Rey, but I'm moving your lightsaber. And then Snoke has his eyes closed. You're going to kill the person you hate the most, your true enemy. And boom, Snoke gets killed. And they even make fun of it with his lower body like falling off the chair and stuff. And so he's dead. He's dead. And I don't even think they explained who he was or where he came from. And maybe they did. Maybe they gave out a hint, but I missed it. I'm slow, so I didn't catch that. So the most powerful Sith Lord they set up, they completely killed, which is a nice twist because now Kylo Ren is the leader, and he doesn't wear the stupid helmet anymore, which is great because I didn't like it because I thought it was a Darth Vader ripoff, and even the movie pointed that out. You're not Darth Vader, boy. Put away that damn helmet, quit being a kid, so he destroys it. I like the fact that this movie clears up a lot of the loose ends that were in the previous Star Wars movie, Force Awakens. Like Force Awakens, I was kind of upset because there's all these open endings, and I'm just like, what is all this? Hopefully, they explain this in the sequel, and they do. But then, for me, I would think they give me some answers, but then it makes me ask more questions. So now it's like I gotta wait till the next installment of this movie. And so now I think that's how they hook the audience in. They hook the audience in by not explaining anything, just giving us something to question, so that and you'll be like, oh, I'll find out what the answer is in the next movie. And I kind of don't like that. And that's why I think I'm done with Star Wars, because I don't want to keep, like the Avengers, I can let that go. Oh, wait. I don't want to keep watching this. I mean, maybe, but I'm just kind of like over Star Wars, honestly. That's just me. Because I didn't have much. I had a good time, but I wasn't like head over heels about this. But I will say one thing is that I think the message with kids in this movie is very important. I will say that, you know, as an example for parents need to stop trying to shape and mold their children into who they think they should be. Every single person on this planet has their own life to live, because our parents are not going to live forever. They will be deceased, and then we as children will have to fend for ourselves. And so we can't always rely on our parents. And so that means the parents need to, at a point in the kid's life, take a step back, let the child breathe, and observe the child from a distance and let them figure things out for themselves and not interfere unless the kid actually needs help. And with this movie, I got a sense of yes, there can be mentors like Luke Skywalker who can see potential within someone like Kylo Ren and say, this has the potential to be good and prospering. But once, Luke Skywalker sees something that is evil within him and it's like overwhelming for Luke, he immediately says, I should stop this at the root. But then at a microsecond, he's like, I shouldn't because who am I? This is me embracing the dark side. So Luke did embrace it for a little bit there because he's about to kill an innocent guy who really didn't do nothing at the point, even though he was already corrupted by Snoke. He still didn't do anything. And it's like that's the thing with kids. Like parents need to calm down because when you have a kid in like a phase of where they're still experiencing things, they're still learning who they are and learning their emotions and how to control them. That is a lot to take on just within a person inside themselves. And then the parents sometimes just try and force things and try and force create things into a shape that they want to see. And that doesn't work. And that's why I feel like kids rebel a lot of the time is because they don't want to be formed and created in the way their parents want to create them. And then they fight back. And then so in this instance, when you got Kylo Ren saying that, hey, the person I look up to, my mentor, is about to kill me, that means that you lose all hope. You lose all hope. And at that point, we didn't know if he was going to be good or bad. I'm sure he was just curious. And then they even show it with Rey, where it's like she's powerful. She sees the balance in the universe. She knows what the Force is, even and they make fun of it, which is funny. But then they explain what it is. But then they also show the dark side, and she's tempted by it. So she sees it and she goes there, but she doesn't turn, which I didn't think she was going to turn. Then you have Kylo Ren, who goes there completely to sever this weak entity that's within him. He wants to separate himself from his past and become something more. And you can see that internal struggle within him. And it's like, did Luke Skywalker create this monster? Did Luke Skywalker do it with trying to force his hand and shape and mold something into what he saw fit? And then while he, in my opinion, trespasses into this person's emotions, he's judging him based off of his inner emotions and thoughts about things he wants to do, but he hasn't done yet. And so he makes a drastic decision, a choice to say, I'm going to cut it at the root. I'm going to stop it right here. But then he doesn't, which I thought was good. And then Kylo Ren sees that and feels betrayed. So then he's like, yeah, they're all who knows? He probably thought, oh, well, my master tried to kill me, so there is no good. So now I'm turned bad because Snoke didn't try to kill me. So who knows? But that's all I got to say, man. It's just like, it's a good example. And especially at the end of this movie when you have the kid and he looks up at the stars and he has the rebel ring on. I thought that was good because then it's like, kids are innocent, man. Kids are really innocent. And they're not just little cute people, because I was a kid. You were a kid. We all were kids. We were all cute and cuddly at one point. If you want something to remain cute forever, get a dog or a cat or some form of animal because a kid is cute for the time being, but then we have to understand that they have a mind that develops and they end up thinking for themselves and discovering the world for good or for bad or for better or for worse. Kids' minds develop as they get older, and the things that are around them influence them, the things that they see influence them, the things that they hear influence them, and then all that stuff put together, the way the parents raise them, to what happens to them outside of the parents' home, shape and form them into the person that they become when they are an adult. And so hopefully parents will not try to force and shape their kids and mold them in who they think they should be. Just let them grow. Just let them grow. The only way we can grow is by making mistakes. The only way we can grow is by taking those risks and those chances and not having help unless we really need it. And so, did Luke Skywalker create the monster by not letting things be? That's an interesting question that is intriguing and does kind of make me want to see where this goes between the two of them. But right as of right now, I feel like I'm Star Wars out. I think I'm gonna be done for a while. But until I see that next trailer, maybe I'll give it another go. Hopefully, it ends everything and answers all the questions and doesn't leave me with more questions. Because that's how you set up the next movie to make me want to see it. So stop doing that. But yeah, just reflecting on it, I enjoyed Star Wars, but I didn't love it. I'd give it a. I'm not going to grade it, actually. I'm not going to grade it. I'm just not. This is just me talking about how I felt, and that's how I feel. So respect your children. Respect your children because they are precious and they know all sorts of love in this world that parents seem to forget once they get older because, the complications of life interfere with the child that was once in them. And childs are beautiful, man. Childs are the most delicate, precious thing on this planet, and we need to protect them and save them from us and preserve them and nurture them and let them grow. Let them grow because who knows what the child might become in the future. So, as always, thank you for watching, and may the force be with you.